Hey guys, welcome to my Namek podcast. I'm your host, Cynical AJ. We're here to bring you our weekly anime review by covering three anime. This week we have on the list we have Black Clover, which is our one of the new shonen animes that are replacing the old guard.
Hype train.
This is really
Choo
what it all
choo.
it
New
is.
hotness.
I,
Oh
yeah,
well.
whatever. We have Love and Lies episode 3, so we're finishing that out, and we have episode 2 of the Beheading cycle. It's a 8 part, well, it's a 6 part OVA that we have decided to cover, because we like mysteries, guys, and this should be interesting. Um, I'm here joined by my co-host. We have Paulie the Wise Guy,
Consecutive black cover punches.
and we have Ibra Kursan.
Reaping in great tithes in the Church of Frieza this week.
Dog, that shit was Shakespearean. that shit was like
Our, Our Lord has blessed us with many a moment.
I'm
It
not,
is a good time to be
that
in the
shit-
church.
Honestly, if I was to rank that up with most Shakespeare, like just that, uh, that would be up there with damn near King Lear. How that went down, dog. That shit was fucking amazing.
Mhm.
Anyway, if you're new with us, shame on you, but it's always nice to have some people around the crib. We do our ratings one of three ways. We either have a mind Namek if we love it, it needs more training if we feel that it is so, or a special beam cannon if we feel that it is basura. Shout out to Kit Kat. Um, yeah, it's without any further ado, let's start this off with Love and Lies, episode 3. Kursan, go.
Um, you know what? Well, okay. First, I'm gonna give this show definitely a Dynamic.
Yes.
I really do love. You know what? I like this show now, and I honestly, it has crept into my just. I really want to I just want to watch the whole thing now. Like I want to watch the whole thing
Yes.
because I got to see where it's at. I thought the little yaoi twist I didn't see coming. Apparently, I was just like, oh shit, like this is happening. I thought it was quite. I don't know. I just thought this show was pretty. Like I didn't think it was gonna be this lewd. Like I was just like, oh, like everybody's making out, but like it's not in like too of an overtop way. It's just this like high school like, ooh, who's kissing who kind of thing, and I don't know, like feels, and I don't know, like it gave me this like sense of feels that I haven't had in like a long time. So I'm digging it. I think it's pretty cool. Like I would recommend like just watching the whole thing, which I'm probably gonna do. So that's yeah.
So then you're giving it a dynamic for the series. And a
Yeah,
dynamic
yes.
for
I would
the-
give it a Dynamic for the series too. I didn't think I would like it at first, but it just wormed its way into my heart, I guess. So a double Dynamic from me.
I can see that. Okay, so a mind Namek from Ibra Kursan. Paulie, how'd you feel about episode 3?
Yeah, I'm gonna echo Kirasan. This was a great episode. Some nice little twists happening there. I was definitely not sure what the thing was between um, the other
Neji
male.
and Nagashi?
Yeah, I couldn't think of it what it was, and then all of a sudden I was just like, it hit me right before he leaned in. I was just like, oh my god, he's in love with this dude.
Hmm.
I didn't see that coming, and then like the next scene was like him just like against him. I was just like, you motherfucker, you just raped his mouth while he was sleeping.
Yo, real talk. That was actually the first thought I had. I was like, dog, this is just rape. This is just all rape culture
This is
that everybody
this is a date
has been
rape.
trying to defeat for all these years, and we just going to condone it in this one anime right now?
I
Here
didn't
we going to
condone
dress
it.
it up as love? It's
But
crazy.
like, I didn't expect it up until like the very last moment. I like that too because I do kind of like to be surprised when a story kind of goes in a direction where I wasn't expecting it to head. Also, as far as like the lewdness goes, like I think that it adds like a certain like um
I think it just shows like it's like that raw
yeah,
passion.
like
Yeah.
unbridled. You know, it's like
Yeah, I
uh
wonder. I wonder what percent. Like, I don't think this is so much like a love story as it is like a lot of lust going on. Like, just a
uh,
lot of like like I don't know, lusty kind of feelings between teenagers.
well,
Or
see, I
I
don't.
question how much of it is actual like super love.
Well, all right. So I've watched further along. I'm not going to disclose anything, but I definitely feel like love is a key component here.
Okay.
That said, um, my thing is like what I like about it is that we discuss on this show oftentimes that you know even in romantic anime, like the whole kissing and like um, being this forward and this honest with your emotions is kind of unexpected. Because like the tropes don't really kind of play into that. The tropes are usually you don't confess until like the end of the season or something, and then like you get your happily ever after or your in some anime, well, you find out that the person you love just died, and or is going to die or something like that, and
or
so
or the second season, another suitor shows up.
right, that too. But like those things tend to happen at the end. It's kind of like a fresh. It's kind of refreshing to see. All right, let's just lead with that, and then see where the story takes us. And then like add in like some risque. So like the only other comparison I can give is the what was the one that we watched where like we called it love
Oh,
Rubik's cube.
Scum's Wish.
Yeah, Scum's Wish. So Scum's Wish was the only other one where like things were happening, and I was just like, oh my god, I didn't expect that. Now it hasn't gotten as lewd as Scum's Wish, but it's also more lighthearted than Scum's Wish. It was Scum's Wish was more. It had a tangent of. It was almost depressing to see these kids, you know, be put themselves in these romantic entanglements because they couldn't have who they wanted to be with. So, but at the same time, it was somewhat relatable for anybody who's ever felt unrequited love. So I can definitely appreciate that. Also, both of these stories have managed to take me and transport me back to the time where I was in those similar situations and could relate wholeheartedly. So I really appreciate that. So like the nostalgia bone has like been kicking pretty much throughout the entire uh, watch. So I've watched the entire thing. I definitely recommend this to anybody. This particular episode for me was a dynamic. I think the twist was interesting, and I think the episode as a whole was interesting. I definitely recommend this series for anybody who likes to take a departure from what you're used to seeing and like take a different ride, so to speak. So my Namek for the episode and my Namek for the series.
All right, so we have a dynamic from both Kirsan and Paulie. I gotta echo them because I thought that episode 3 was pretty good. The twist with basically my friend or my best friend who I feel may like the girl I love is gay coming into play is pretty hard hitting. And not only is he gay, but he likes me. And the fact that he just doesn't know that is almost annoying. So, and also is annoying because like, why does everybody like this dude? Like, who is he? He does nothing special. He
Yeah,
has literally done. He has done nothing to make it seem like he's
Animal,
he's
not.
just a
animal.
pretty boy though. You know how
But
that goes.
homeboy's not even all that.
Yeah,
He's not
well,
even like, bruh. I'm saying that how we look at him now, I can say that there has nothing been shown that hella people like him because that he's like super pretty or like he's like the cool kid. He's like mad awkward and like
yeah.
dorky.
Well, he is very stylish though. Like one thing I noticed that I can't remember the main character's name, but he always mentions that he talks to Neji to get um, input on his. Dunder, why are you so crazy? Um,
wants to
so
wants to be on a podcast.
right, he talks to him to get tips on dressing better, things like that. Don't mind me, everybody. That's just my dog, just making his way onto the podcast. Uh,
Mascot of the podcast.
right, the mascot. The Fisher,
If you shoot,
uh,
if
the
you shoot,
Fisher
dig.
mascot of the My Name is Podcast, Dunder Mifflin. All right. So anyway, I think that I do feel like he has redeeming qualities that point to what the typical pretty boy is. All right, enough.
Maybe it doesn't transfer in the art style because like
Well, I definitely agree with you on that.
okay, so if it transferred in the art style that he was attractive, but he was dorky. In this, like it just make I don't feel like he's like, and it might just be like all the characters kind of look the same. That's another problem that I have mostly with this anime is that other than hair, they just and that's the problem I have with like
You think
Fate Stay
so?
Night.
Man, I
Yeah,
feel like the girls are so adorable, dog.
I feel like
it's just
it's how their hair is. It's just it. Like if you was to just because I paused it when I had Riri and what's homegirl's name? Toka, like what's her name? Something. What's her name?
Takanaki or Tana Tana.
Tanakashi or something like that.
Yeah,
I
something
don't
like
know.
that.
Mhm.
All right, so when they both were on screen together, I literally paused it and I was looking at them and I was like, one just has bigger boobs than the other, and one is taller, but their face looks exactly the same. Like their head shape, everything is the same. When I looked at Nejima and Nakahashi, they both look the same too. Like they other than just one has his eyes just like squinted, but they both don't have like any defining features that make them look differently. And I think that's also where I'm looking at like, well, why does he think that like Nakahashi looks like he's like the best looking guy ever? Because I don't see that. I don't see why. Like it's just bugging me. But that was kind of small in comparison of what I'm experiencing. The other thing that I looked at, it was just like, okay, so we're playing this game now. It's like Riri wants to make friends, but she clearly either she clearly likes homegirl, Nejima's crush. I'm just don't want to feel like butchering her name right now,
Right.
and or she likes Nejima and she doesn't know how to deal with that. Then the other thing I got was, okay, well, how is this all going to play out with the whole system? Now I'm interested to know like how is this system of the marriage and everything going to play out, because we saw that he like on his phone he got a message saying, oh, you're supposed to be with this girl, and it was going to be the girl of his dreams, and then for some reason his phone just went to shit.
Because we
and
don't we
then
don't we
people
don't know
came.
his girlfriend or the girl he likes she hasn't like been found a husband, right?
Well, the girl, no, we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know that.
Yeah.
So, again, like I'm interested to see how that plays out. But I think with this episode, I don't like this episode. If this was supposed to be like to get me to go further, the only thing that made me want to go further is like, oh, my friend is gay.
Mhm.
Now my friend is gay. I don't know that he likes me, and now the audience knows this, and they are not telling me because they are behind a screen, and I
Right.
should know this.
Mhm.
But yeah, this is, if anything, this is a dynamic show. I feel like the music, the fucking opening theme, dude.
Agreed.
Like, I love that opening theme. Like, out of all the shows that we watched, I sat through that opening theme and I was just like, damn, this is
It's
a
weird.
great
I did that
theme.
too. I did that too. I didn't like. I was just like, oh, I'm just gonna listen to this song because it's kind of catchy as fuck.
It's like fucking nice. That shit is fucking nice, dog. We need that to be the theme song of My Namek, actually. But yeah, so I'll give it a My Namek for the series. I ain't no hater. This was nice. I'm actually going to try to watch this going forward because I want to see how these little horny fuckers can deal with all this, and also if the government is just going to come over and take their welfare from them, because this will be hilarious.
You boys fucking in that shed over there. You ain't getting no reparations.
That's basically how it looks. Anyway, all right. So moving on, we have the beheading cycle, episode 2. Um, I'm gonna be honest with you, Paulie. I wasn't liking this. Can you tell me differently?
Hmm. So I do feel like episode two was a lot more like episode one was, with the exception of the ending, because actually we now have incentive to watch the show. Kind of going back on episode one and revisiting what we liked and didn't like about it, it was just like it felt like it wasn't going anywhere. I felt like episode two should have got right into where it's going and not made that the cliffhanger, because especially with our unanimous agreement that the episode one kind of ended abruptly, I felt like this could have been the cliffhanger, or should have been the cliffhanger for episode one. That, and I just think that whoever wrote the story didn't pace it appropriately,
Mhm.
or the anime studio that is adapting this didn't make the correct decision on how to pace the chapters to ensure that episode one still had some of those cool elements for as far as dialogue and conversation goes, but still, and then of course the shots, the visual shots, but still managed to pace in a way that that got right to it, because I don't think that this is the type of slow burn anime that people are okay with just going along for the ride, uh, because of the visuals are such high quality. That's not gonna do it for people here. Also, the dialogue being great, just is so exposition heavy. It's just like, I don't know that you could dedicate as much time.
Yeah, okay. That's how you want to call it. Okay.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, to me, like, well, I mean, I'm using terminology that's probably a lighter touch than what you're probably going to say. But I'm just saying, personally, I feel like you got a dialogue heavy thing, and in episode one, it was probably a little bit more entertaining than it was in episode two, because you were like, okay, you didn't give me any incentive to come back to this episode, so um, don't beat around the bush with this bullshit. So get right to it, and that would be my argument. So I'm fine with giving this a special beam cannon, because I
All right, you said all right. So we got a special beam cannon
yeah.
from Paulie. That was surprising. Thought you were going to give this like an easy one training.
I
Something.
was in that area, but like I definitely, like I said, when thinking back to episode one, I really felt like this should have been, that what happened in episodes one and two could have been contained into one episode, and the pacing should have been much better than it was, and it's not. So yeah.
Gotcha. Curson, how'd you feel?
So like I don't. Okay, I'll get the one good thing about that I like here. Okay, I have come around to like the art, not necessarily the animation, but I have come around to like the art and the character design. I like how the girls look and everything like that. That being said, like I just couldn't get through this. Like it was just like I was it was on my screen and I just saw words and characters are talking about just nothing, and they're like trying to be like more pretentious about like what they're talking about, and maybe I'm dumb, but I didn't get a lot of it. Like I was just like, what are we talking about here? And they're just like, oh, this thing and this, like they just didn't say anything. They were just they spent like 20 minutes talking about like nothing, and I'm like, all right, well, why are you saying all this stuff? And it's just like, because I'm an asshole. Oh, cool. And like, like that's literally, it was like Like, what are we talking about? Oh, I'm just like a shithead, and it's like,
I just
okay.
have an asshole.
So then, the other thing too is like now, and I know we mentioned it before, like, and I don't know if this bothered any of you guys, but like when you said like, hey, like this is kind of doing these things in these like weird angles and weird cutscenes. They must have heard that and just did it
It did that
all the
shit
time.
to a million
Like I'm
people.
sitting there and I'm like literally in my like in my notes I have notes here because I write down what I said. It says, "Hey, remember them angles I heard you like? I heard you like angles, so we put angles in your angles so you can cut up words while you watch." And I was just like, "Why did we cut there? Like, are they trying to be like artsy or something?" And like it was just like, and it was always like, and like I felt like they did the same cut like a bunch of times, where it was like under his nose, him looking up like, oh, and I was like, why do we do this? What are we doing? And then at the end, they're like, here's this fucking beheading, and like no reaction. He's just like, oh, like I felt like it was the whole thing where he was just like I almost felt like he was gonna be like, boy, I guess we're gonna have to talk about this one in the next episode. And I was like, I don't want to sit through you talking about this beheading. Like I can't. I can't. Now, that being said, if you guys had forced me at gunpoint to watch another episode, I would have, only to maybe see where, like, the big hook is. But I just have a feeling it's just going to be like another half hour of my life of cutscenes and them talking about, like, being pretentious and I don't know. And I know what they're trying to do. Like that's what I felt like it was. I just felt like I'm like watching some like French art project, and like I know what their hook to this is. Like it's these girls, and it's like a very artsy waifu simulator where it's just like there's all these girls and you're supposed to be like attached to them in some fashion, but I just am not, and I just couldn't like it was starting to just physically cause me pain. Like watching this, I was just like, and maybe it's the time I don't know, maybe it was the time I was watching this because I was watching this at like midnight or something. And I was like, I'm kind of tired. Oh, there's more words coming, and I'm just like, and I'm just like, and I was like, oh, here comes some more words, and I just couldn't.
Because a wall full of text.
Yeah, it was like a wall full of text, and I was just like, why is there? And I wish there was, and like I wish it was like the first scene of this whole thing where they had this, and I was fine with the wall of text because they were like, "What is your place in this world?" And like, "Do you let the world eat you, or will you eat the world?" I was like, "Oh, cool, that's some like deep shit. I can fucking drink tea on the mountaintop to that." And it's like, no, it's fucking, and it just got into like, I don't know, we're all assholes and we all have special abilities, and I never wash my hair. I don't. I was just like, who gives a shit? And why is this guy I didn't get it. Like I was just like, I don't know. Just special beam cannon. I just no.
Damn, dog.
No, I couldn't deal with it.
Damn, dog. It's two special beam cannons. It's fucked up because I actually did want to watch the rest of it just to see where the fuck this was gonna go. Like
Well,
I was
so-
going special
so-
beam.
I would
Now I need to spoil it for y'all.
Don't spoil it. Hold on. Don't spoil it because I still want to watch it.
All right. Well, if you're gonna watch it, then I'll.
Yeah, it's a mystery. It's a mystery still, right? All right. So like,
Yeah. Well, none of the mystery. I was just gonna spoil you by saying like giving you something eventful that happens next.
okay.
So, basically, in the next episode, they gather around
they
the
talk about
dining-
stuff. Do they gather
Well,
around
yeah.
the table and talk
They
about
gather around the
things?
table and they all start going over their hunches as to they all give their alibis and they all give their hunches as to who they think did it.
Holy, I no.
All right, so then they basically all agree that it only could be one person based on the alibis. So as a way to protect that person and to ensure that no more killings happen, the main character suggests that they lock that person up. So if that person is the killer, then they won't kill anybody, and then there also won't be any reciprocity. And later on, that person gets beheaded too. And it just is like, dun,
Huh.
dun.
See,
So,
that like, so too. That would have made me want to watch that shit further. You know.
so I think you should watch it though, because I feel like that's what like the conversations that he has with her, dude, dog, it's pretty slick. Also, you find out a little bit more about the main character and his entanglement with the chick that he's there with.
Okay.
But yeah, so but it doesn't tell you who to. I'm not giving away any killer or any of that nonsense. So if this was to be a hair, so like I think that's why I kind of laughed at Kirasan's uh, point about this is like a cleverly woven wife harem, because it's like if this is a harem anime, damn, every chick gets beheaded in this harem anime. So I was like, it can't be.
So, I think the one thing I did walk away from with this is kind of weird because like watching, I was like, wait, why are they doing this? Because like people are talking, they just switch into different fucking angles and shit like that. They're just,
Glad I'm not
I
the
was
only
like,
one who was just like, look at all these angles.
give me a second.
User disconnected from your channel.
Whoop, what happened?
He said, give him a second. I think he must have been having an issue, so he'll probably pop back in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the angle thing was was pretty accurate though.
It's felt like I was watching like fucking was it Batman and Robin, like like just like random like just angles from for no reason.
Yeah, I couldn't
User
understand.
entered your channel.
Stylistically, like I don't know what the choice was
Well,
about.
stylistically, I would have been like cool. Like that first episode, I was like, oh, cool. There's little angles. But then like the second one, they were just like, how about some angles? And I was just like, nah. Like, what are we doing? I
So,
don't
like,
need to
this is
see.
the thing.
I don't need to see up people's noses for fucking.
Right, like that's what I'm saying. I guess in episode one for me, if the
User in your
angles,
channel timed out.
huh, the angles actually felt like pretty cleverly used, well placed, and not
User entered your channel.
Alright,
extra.
sorry about that. That shit was weird.
It's all good. Um, but the angles felt well used and not overly done. In episode two, it just felt like
Son,
every
people were
second.
just speaking and they were just saying words and they would just shift, and I would be like, what the? You why?
Yeah, I felt like they were like playing like a first person shooter, and you're just like clipping through the fucking screen or something.
Yo, it was like watching various kill cams, and that's all you're doing.
Yeah.
Just switching users, and it's just like, why are you doing this? Like, we're just like you were just talking about this, and now we're gonna, instead of you walking, we're gonna shift you down a little bit so we can only see your mouth. And then we're gonna switch to the sides and see if you see the profile of your face. And it was just like, I was just waiting for them to go ahead and just do like a whole 360, just spinning. Like,
Yeah, and I couldn't, and I
shit.
barely caught it because I was too busy reading all the like fucking piles of text that were going on,
Yeah.
and it's just like, no. I just,
See, and I think that that's also another problem is that like there is nothing that makes this anime look nice. That makes it drive the attention, all because of the fact like everybody's isolated in this room. So now like either they're isolated in the living room or the dining room or bedroom. There's nothing else that you're able to look at to like engage, to get a far better just that's far better aesthetically pleasing.
Mhm.
And also like the character that they introduced with the whole homegirl that was like, I'm a telepath. It was just like like if anything you're just an asshole. Like
Yeah, yeah. She's like, oh, I'm a telepath, but only to people I like, and I was like, wait, what? Like,
what? Like that's weird. Like, and I don't know. I honestly, this episode there was no hook to. I feel like there was no hook to make me want to watch further, and I felt like that last episode. So I was gonna give this a special beam Ken as well. I'm surprised that Kurasan and Paulie did though. That shit is actually pretty damn
he's
funny.
shocked.
But yeah, I plan on watching this. I plan on watching this further just so I can know how. I'm somewhat interested, but really.
Calm.
What'd you say?
What was I gonna say?
What was that?
Nothing.
Oh,
Okay.
that hurt something.
Gotcha.
Weird. Okay.
Anyway, so let's move on to Black Clover episode 1. This anime was shit. It was, and I'm just gonna say it. For those who probably like Black Clover, sure, that's, good on you. But I'm gonna tell you right now, this episode 1, this was a bad episode 1 for any anime that you can point me to, and we'll see how the rest of these guys feel. Kursan, how'd you feel about this?
Okay, so first off, going in, I know nothing of Black Clover. The only thing I know is that people were telling me like, oh, it's like the next big shonen thing. So I'm gonna give it a needs more training, because like I really I think you're right. I don't think this was a good episode per se. I think the biggest issues were, one, I didn't, up until like the very end, or even at the end, I didn't really like the main character. Like, I was like, the Asta, I was like, well, why should I feel for this guy? Like I mean, I get like where he's like, oh, I can't use magic anymore. Like, okay, fine, and then he's got, at the end, like, he has like his, I felt like the end like was almost like it felt like I was watching the end of Bleach, like the first episode of Bleach at the very end, and I was like, oh, okay, he's got a thing, cool. I was hoping he was gonna have some sort of melee weapon to like make up, like I was hoping like he had like one magic sword and everybody else had magic or whatever. But I think I really need to see another episode to see like what it's kind of gonna be, I guess. Just because, I mean, knowing, if I didn't know this was like a super long shonen thing, I would probably special beam cannon this.
How it's not even super long right now? It's only at 100 chapters.
Okay, but I mean, I'm from what I'm told, that this is going to be this big to do.
Dog, Magi has 300 chapters so far.
Sure.
Chill out.
So,
Magi has 300. Let's stop this right now.
Hold on. Wait. The one last thing.
Right now.
Wait. The one last thing I'm gonna say about this is, rest in peace to the main character's the voice actor who has to fucking do this guy's voice, because like I was like, man, this guy's shouting all the time, and he was just, and even I tried to do it, he was just like, yeah, and I was like, holy shit, man, my voice hurts after like 2 seconds. This guy's gonna do like 9 million seasons of this? No, he'll be dead. So that was really all I got out of that. I'd say it needs more training, but like I wasn't like, ooh, what is this fantastical world? So, but I mean, I do think the concept is neat, that it's like magic and little medievally and whatever. That's kind of cool. But as far as the actual characters, like, I just didn't like the main character's kind of annoying as fuck, and his brother, quote, or whatever, like, he just stood there, like he there was nothing that made me like he was like an uninteresting Shishomaru or something, like, just being there.
He's more like an uninteresting Sasuke. Like, this whole thing has fucking, I just marathon 800 episodes of Naruto written all over it.
Yeah,
I feel sick watching it.
What if I wrote we're gonna write my own Naruto and just fucking
Did you watch that?
What?
Naruto.
No, it is a giant blind spot in my like anime life.
I'm going to let you know this now. So Naruto is the best and worst thing in anime. To me, it is. In terms of
this has merit. This has
like,
merit.
I feel like it had like, for like, in terms of fandom, like in terms of what it was a growing experience for a lot of people. It truly was. It was like that, like, and so when it ended, it really was like the cap off to like, damn, now I wasted. Damn, Naruto was out for what, 20 years, dude?
17.
Damn, I really grew up with Naruto, bro. And like, now I'm an adult, and like, that's what it felt like. It was just like, and I watched it go through all its bullshit. Like, I went through my bullshit, and in all intents and purposes, all the side characters went to shit. Just like I got friends who were my side characters that went to shit. And you know what? That's Naruto became just a life experience for people. But it's not nothing amazing. It is at certain points. It is.
No, it's
but
amazing.
then at other points, Nah, at certain points it
No,
is. At
it's
certain points,
definitely amazing. You can't take that from it.
hold on, hold on.
I would agree with you that it's the best and worst because the points where it's not amazing, it's epically unamazing, and the
It's
points where it is amazing, it's epically amazing.
amazing. Yeah,
Like,
okay, okay. So if we had to average it, yes, it is amazing. It is,
yeah.
but I would not.
See,
I would say
I
also
tried
has
to see. I tried to watch it, but like like I guess by the time I started watching it, I was just like I think I might have watched I think I watched the first couple episodes, and I was just like, okay, but then like I don't know, there was something where I was just like, man, I'm a grown ass man, I ain't got time for this, so I just didn't, I just didn't get into
I
it.
don't know. You got to talk to Philip. To Flip. Flip was like, "Yo, I'm going marathon Naruto
did.
in fucking sit fucking 6
also,
months."
he had bashed Naruto for the longest time.
Yeah.
He always hated Naruto.
Like I don't want to bash it. I guess my problem is like I don't want to bash it because you know what? It's probably somebody's jam. That's fine. And
Fucking will.
you know what I mean? Like it's probably somebody's jam, but like I just never had the time to get into it. Like and then like the other thing too is like I kind of want to know like okay, so I like so like whenever there's like some sort of like character battle and they're like this person versus this person and it's there's invariably someone from Naruto I don't know who he is, so I'm just like I don't know how strong he is or what he's doing, and that kind of bothers me. So like I feel like I need to know that as like data for
Yeah.
comparison purposes. It's the same reason why I actually went and watched Doctor Who. Like I don't give a fuck about Doctor Who, but like I would talk to like friends and people and they're just like, "So, how about that Doctor Who?" and Doctor Who and I'm like, "Okay, I can't interact with anybody anymore. I better fucking watch Doctor Who." You know, so
Truthfully, Naruto might have the best anime fights.
okay.
It might have one of the best. It might if it's just a series of anime fights that we're just going to talk about, Naruto might have the best anime fights. So,
Well, I mean, someday I'll give it a shot, I'm sure. But like
well, I don't know because again, that's like
it's a lot of
aside-
it's a lot of work.
That's a lot of work, dude. Like I'm trying to think without filler.
Could
That's
you
almost without filler? That's
could
almost
I
700
would it be
episodes.
now I always had this like weird idea of like you know like just making someone watch a show but like having them not watch the filler and then asking them what they thought of it, like could I do that? Could I just be like
Yes, you can.
There is
like, if
they have mapped out
I know I think they have mapped out where there's like no filler, but like could I watch Naruto and just be like I'm just gonna watch the non-filler stuff and still get a good enjoyment out of it?
Yes,
Yes.
you would get a much better experience
Yeah.
out of it.
Okay.
or if anything, just read the manga. Like I think if you want to watch the fights, like I read the manga I watched the anime up until Shippuden, and then I read the manga, and it led to me at that time. Once we got to the final fight between the two main characters, that's when I watched that fight. Aside from that, I read the manga throughout. So, you know.
Well, hold on. Let me get my Black Clover review.
Yeah,
'cause I
yeah.
do
What
wanna
did
add
Paul?
to this-
What did Paul
I wanna-
think of this?
I want to add to this Naruto
Go ahead.
commentary. All right, so for anybody who's watching Naruto, or actually,
He has the same goddamn hair as him.
yeah.
He's
Let-
even got
let me just start-
he's even
let
got
me
a
start with this.
headband.
Let me just start with this. Before I even decided to watch Black Clover, I had heard from a couple people in the group that it's the next next big thing, and it is even more of a spiritual successor to Naruto than My Hero Academia is, and I disagree with that statement wholeheartedly. The other thing is, they said that it's like if you mix One Piece with Naruto and then made it magic based like fairy tale, that's what this would be.
That's a lot of stuff being pumped into this.
Right. Like
That's a lot
that
being
is-
now.
that is exactly.
Now I don't know a lot about all that stuff. I mean, I know about some of it, but like,
at first
but
I was just like,
I don't know.
But Fairy Tail just feels like One Piece as a troll. That's what
I got
don't
nothing
know.
out of Fairy Tale. When I watched it, I was just like, I don't like it.
Fairy
Just
Tale is so like the fairy tale. It takes you literally 5 arcs into it, and if that and in terms of anime, that means 5 seasons in before you
Takes me
actually
5 years
get.
until I watch.
Yeah, it takes you 5 seasons until you get hooked because they don't really give you any incentive. Like it's all fan service and like there's a formula to it. Basically, the formula is uh, person team tries to fight the bad guys and lose. One person fights the bad guys and wins. That's the formula, and intermixed or intermingled in there is fan service all throughout. Like it has some of the greatest fan service I've ever seen in anime. That said, it takes you literally 5 arcs before you actually even care about any of the characters. So, and the gags are too much for me up front. But I pushed through, and I got to a point where I actually enjoy Fairy Tale. But that's a super slow burn for 5 arcs. That said, moving on back to what I was saying, the only aspect of this that is like One Piece is the fact that he declares that he's going to be the Magic Emperor, which is kind of a, which is kind of which is kind of akin to Luffy saying, "I'm going to be the Pirate King," which doesn't make sense either. And like you're like Magic Emperor, what the fuck is that? Also, not only is this is so it's really nothing like One Piece if I'm being honest. It's really just Naruto with a different skin over it, and like almost beat for beat. Like at the first episode of Naruto, you see the demon fox is looming over the village. The first episode of this, the Magic Emperor is is a giant Magic Emperor looming over the village. Then you got this Sasuke lookalike,
Who is a natural talent.
who's a natural talent and a genius, and it just happens to pick up the grimoire with the 4-leaf clover. Okay, then you have Sasuke, who's a natural talent and from the strongest bloodline clan, almost. No, not almost. The strongest bloodline clan in the village, and it's just naturally gifted. And
Both are
it's just-
orphans. Both are
both are
technically
orphans. Both are orphans. They're both rivals with
They're
the
both
other
tied
person.
to one another.
Right, and they're both intrinsically tied to each other, and it's just like, man, how this isn't this is not a spiritual successor. At what
It's
point
a
does it just
fucking
become
plagiarism.
plagiarism? Like, like I did a whole thing. I did a whole story on how I felt that Naruto plagiarized Hunter x Hunter, and I went through it and I explained, like, in retrospect, dog, I feel like, man, Naruto just like gleaned things from it, but I can still make a strong argument and a strong case for it. But this is not gleaning. This is literally just taking the episode and just changing the events. The only cool thing that they've inserted of their own is these grimoires, and so far, like that's the only thing that I actually care about. Are the grimoires?
I don't even feel like I care about that either.
Yeah, like, well, I mean, yeah, like it could be done. Like, I don't know. We've seen grimoires.
That's almost like I almost feel like it's like fucking Harry Potter ripoff.
It's
like,
not even that.
Like
I feel
here's
like-
here's your
I'm saying-
owl.
Because like, let's think about it like this, right?
Here's your fuck. The wizard chooses his own wand, Harry, and it's like, wait, what?
But, like,
Literally,
think
isn't that
about
the
it, like,
wait? Actually, isn't that the plot to the first episode? Basically, Grimoire chooses its own
Yeah.
wielder.
Yeah, that's actually how it went.
But what were you about to say, Twan?
Think about it like this, though. So you're going to tell me, all right? So let's think about it like this, right? So the two main characters that we get, one is shown to be extra special. He ends up getting the Book of Luck, right? Essentially, that's what it is, the Book of Luck. And then he announces to the world, "I will be Wizard King." The kid that's been talking about how he wants to be Wizard King, he has no magic. He gets a book that is the personification of demons, and he gets a sword, and now he gets magic, but yet he wasn't able to do magic this whole time. So now you just made these two special motherfuckers the most specialty of books.
Yeah.
Duh.
It's just too coincidental. but more importantly,
Where is the strife involved here?
Right. Well, but it's not even that though. Like the other thing is the villain of this episode is essentially like an Orochimaru ripoff.
Not even a Orochimaru. It's sad, son. He literally said, "I'm a wretched thief."
Oh, wait, like the dude from the first episode of Naruto.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes. He
oh
wanted to
God,
steal-
I
remember
forgot
he-
all about that guy because he got finalized in like 2 episodes.
Son,
But, like,
he got hit. Yes, because he got hit with it. So you know what? When
he got hit with with an internal jutsu that was forbidden. Hey, hold on, but Peep, what about the fact that Asta's grimoire says he has a demon inside of him? Naruto has a demon inside of him.
Oh my god.
It is like it is so yeah. There was no originality here whatsoever, and I've been like browbeat by people in my message string saying that this is the greatest thing ever, and I'm like, y'all don't understand Black Clover. In fact, Tommy and Joe were supposed to be guessing on our podcast today. And coincidentally, after I watched the episode and I was like, I gave commentary on it. Now all of a sudden they can't download it. They ain't gonna be available. All right, whatever. That's fine. Tommy, holla at me when you hear this. At either rate, like, all right. So I really, 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 really did not like this episode, and I want his special beam candidate, but I
Please.
also kind of want to see what goes on next.
No,
though.
you don't, bro. You
Like-
don't. No, you really don't. Let's stop this. Let's stop this right now. Hold on.
Let me say something. Let me say
Come
something
on,
to you
bro.
real quick. Let me
Come
say
on,
something
bro.
to you.
Come on, bro. No,
Hold on.
no. Because you know what? Because I've been on this show for I've been on this show for damn near almost 3 years, bro. Come on, bro.
Wait, what?
All right, hold on. Before I give my rating, though, let me just say this. Though. Don't you kind of want to just like
Nah.
Don't you kind of want to be in pain, man?
Nah.
Don't you kind of want to like just?
don't you kind of want to watch like see how bad?
Nah.
How far
I
down
don't wanna-
the
nah.
Naruto rabbit hole that they go.
Nah, bro. Because I watched Naruto. That's why.
Listen, Paul. I'm indifferent. Like I said, I would special beam cannon, but knowing what it is, I'm only giving it a needs more training because I really need to see like.
Better yet, how about this? I'm gonna give y'all this, right? So my homeboy, Mr. C Diggity, he was a guest on this show a few times, He gave his astute he gave his really astute review on this. On episode 2, actually. So second episode of Black Clover is a flashback. This show is 0 for 2 now. I'm giving it one more episode, and then I'm trashing the fuck out of this show.
Yeah, I'm on special base.
All right, cool. There we go. That's all I needed. That's it. Fuck this show, son. Seriously, fuck this show.
I might independently watch the sec just to see. I kind of need to see, but
I'm gonna give my. How about this? Me and you are going to come back and give our report on it next week.
yeah, I did. We'll scout it out and be like, you were we'll be like, you were right. You were so right. We shouldn't have went there. There was
Part
only.
of me feels like we should watch it because this is a big anime of the season. This will be a big anime of the season, and I think that we should watch it so that we're kind of like checking
Up
the
to
pulse of the anime
Pulse.
community.
The pulse of all the people who are just wrong.
Yeah, I get that, man. And you know what? Sometimes I'm with selling my soul, but sometimes I'm not, man. Not today.
It's too far.
This is ridiculous, dog. Like, we got to think about this, right? So,
But
I just want to put it in perspective. One, the voice acting is terrible. Voice acting is really bad. The comedy is not even. Son, that shit was so annoying.
Yeah, that's all he
The
did.
characters are so uninteresting, though.
Son,
dog.
they are so uninteresting. Yuna, like, aside from him being, like, evidently just god tier in magic, I don't
Also,
care.
Did he even say
he's not
anything?
He's not using magic because apparently he can't use magic.
Yuna?
No, Asta.
No, I'm talking about Yuna. I'm
Oh
talking
yeah,
about Yuna is
Yuna.
God tier and using magic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
his
he's just like just walking around like just
Just whipping his dick
G
out. He
status.
just like
he's already
yo,
yeah he was already
that's all he doing. Just
he's
like,
already
right
pre-built
there.
he's already pre-built the fucking avatar. He's fucking
Right.
using wind and fire and everything already.
Yeah, like he was just like, oh, I'm just going to do clothes, with magic. I'm just going to split wood with magic. Somebody going to attack me with a tidal wave of flame. I'm going to make a pillar of water. I'm just going to be nice. I'm just nice. And it was just like, oh, okay, you just nice. Asta out here, I can just do 1,000 sit-ups. Or I can do I can just do.
That's the other thing I needed to mention.
What's up?
So, all right. So I mentioned this in the message string, but Asta's character is literally a mixture of Rock Lee and Naruto rolled into one person.
Yeah, I can see that.
So, basically, Rock Lee in the Avatar verse, in the Naruto verse, cannot use ninjutsu. And ninjutsu is just basically for
Spirit
lack
energy
of
and shit.
yeah, it's like spirit energy based. So it's like magic for ninjas. For people who haven't watched it. So there's three forms of forms in the Naruto verse. Is ninjutsu, genjutsu, which is basically hallucination type, put people in hallucinations and whatever, get them trapped in that, or taijutsu, which is basically physical combat. So being able to be a good martial artist. So Rock Lee, since he can't do ninjutsu and genjutsu, he basically trains his body and exceeds what the natural limitations are for a body and physical limitations, and makes himself into like a perfect human specimen and the best taijutsu user of Naruto's class. And he's a fucking beast. Don't get me wrong. Basically, Asta can't use magic, and he does exactly the same thing. He does exactly what Rock Lee does. Now, but his personality and his demeanor are all like Naruto's, and his even his background is like Naruto's, up to the point where Naruto used to say, he has a saying, "That's
Believe
my
it?
ninja, believe it, and that's my ninja way." This motherfucker at the end of this episode says, like when he pulls his sword out, he says, "Yeah, because not giving up is my magic, is my magic." Like basically, I expected him just to say my magic way, and then that would have brought it to full fruition.
See, now it seems like the only way. See, now the only reason again to watch this would be like why I watch Doctor Who is because you need to have the second reason why I watch Doctor Who is because when you go to rip this show apart, you need to have as much ammunition so that way when people are like, yeah, well, you don't know about it, it's like, yeah, I know about it and it's still shit. That's the best kind of thing where you're just like, yeah, I know all about it and it's still shit. Like, I think that's the only kind of reason why I kind of want to see the second, maybe even third, because of, again, like, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah,
But
recant. I'm just gonna go.
but I didn't, again, I didn't like the first, like, I thought it was just, like, annoying characters and tropey mess and whatever.
Right, so, and this is the reason why I'm changing mine and needs more training. I really just need to see. I really need to see if it gains its own identity or it's just a Naruto clone. If by episode 2, even with the flashback episode, which is already Naruto-esque, if I feel like it's not going in its own direction, I'm definitely on board to just fucking special beam cannon this all the long day. Because, like I said, I don't feel like this episode was a good episode. But for what is being proclaimed to be the next big thing, I really feel like it deserves a second episode, a second look into it. So yeah, that's my.
Like, you know what? Compare this. Hold on. Compare this to, like, the first episode of Magi. Like, because
Magi was fucking amazing, though.
right?
Yeah, Magi is the first.
Magi was amazing. Like,
Yeah.
there's nothing.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, and that's what I like. After the first episode of Magi, I was like, I could watch this for 900 episodes. Like immediately, I
And
was,
I want
I
900
want
episodes
900
of this.
episodes of
Yes,
this. Yeah,
I
Dog,
don't want
Sinbad
900
was
episodes
great
of
too.
this. Yeah, like the whole Maki thing, the whole thing that they're doing there, that's amazing. Yeah.
right. And that I think is that I left this being like, I left this being like, well, I mean, I guess I could. I guess there's going like I guess there's going to be 900 episodes of this, but I really don't need to see it all. Whereas with Magi, I was like, oh, cool. Like, there's magic and swords and shit and magic weapons. And I was like, I'm all in on all this.
But it was all unique too. It was all different, and it had fucking what's her name with the fucking greatest
Morgiana.
legs?
Morgiana.
Morgiana.
Yeah.
Morgiana's dog. I
Son,
just she's
she
a
only
fucking
makes
beast.
she just makes
Yeah.
me want to make sure that she's happy, dog.
Dog, I just want her to be happy.
I just want her
I
to be
just
safe.
want Morgiana to be happy.
I want her to
want her
put
to
on
dance.
some shoes and be happy and not stub her toes.
I just want her to
That's
put the
all.
little,
I don't even
the
care about
bells
anything else.
around her ankles and just like dance all the live long day, dog.
Son, I just want son. The world can literally burn, and as long as she's happy, that's all I want. Morgiana, son. Morgiana is fucking son. She.
Let me say one thing about Naruto real quick. So, since I just end cap this episode, and I really feel like it just did everything to blatantly take away from Naruto. I will say to the point that Twine was making earlier about Naruto is the greatest and the worst, or the best and the worst. Um, like I understand where he's coming from, and I agree to an extent. So, like the thing is, when Naruto ended, I remember getting into a debate with Flip where he was just like, I don't understand why people are trying to say that this is like in the same echelon as DBZ. And I was just like, well, one, I think it's above DBZ. Two, um, it's about as iconic, or for a certain group of people. Like the people who grew up on DBZ, we grew up on DBZ. People my age and close to my age grew up on Toonami and Dragon Ball Z. That era. For this era, just like Twan mentioned, there's a group of people. Millions of people globally who were roughly the same age when Naruto came to the States, and they grew up with Naruto, having pretty much like a lot of the same things that happened, that Twan mentioned already. Uh, I I came into Naruto as an adult, but since the point that I started watching Naruto at the age of 26, like I fell in love with the story. It reinvigorated. Like for instance, I was not watching anime routinely at the time that I decided to start watching Naruto. I just happened to be watching, sitting with my stepson at the time, and he was watching Toonami, Cartoon Network, and a commercial came on that showed Rock Lee opening the gate of life, and it looked like he was going Kaioken or going Super Saiyan, and I was just like, it gave me that feel all over again, and that was the moment I said, man, I need to check this out and see what it is. So I went onto YouTube and I found an AMV showing Naruto and Sasuke fighting at the summit, and I was just like, yep, that's it. I gotta watch this.
See,
no matter what I do, I gotta watch this.
What's funny is that I can't so I was watching it throughout high school or whatever. Actually, I watched it beginning of my freshman year of high school, and I remember when the summit fight, actually when Naruto decides to leave, he decides to leave with Jiraiya, and that was when I graduated high school. And it's like, it's just weird, it's how the story just was able to match my transitions in life. It is like, and it wouldn't be in the best and worst, because it's like there's a lot of story elements of it that are like really not good at all. Then there's other story elements that are really fucking amazing.
I think part one is perfect though. I really do.
I wouldn't say perfect, but
I mean, about as close as you can get. Like, also, to people like Flip who said, like, how are people comparing this to DBZ? Like, when did DBZ ever provide a story? A story as compelling as what Naruto did on the first half. Like, it didn't. Like, there are moments, and DBZ is basically like a Zack Snyder trip because like it's just like it's full of moments that you can recall, and
Right.
some iconic moments for sure, and it's definitely deserves the fanfare that it got for our childhood and everything. But if we're being honest, the story was always pretty simplistic at its core, and and did have some inconsistencies as far as like things go, and did uh, kind of like self implode on certain things because of editorial decisions.
I'll be honest.
Like,
I'll honestly say that probably Dragon Ball is better. Dragon Ball as a story is better than
well, yeah, I've
Yeah, I
always
agree.
said
Yeah.
that.
Naruto.
I've
I
said
mean,
that all.
and I
Oh,
No, I'm
think
talking
wait,
about.
no, no,
I'm willing to say that
Naruto.
it's a better story than Dragon Ball. It's a better story than Naruto.
Mm,
Dragon
I think Dragon
Ball.
Ball is a better story than Dragon Ball Z.
I'll say Dragon Ball is a better story than Naruto.
Yeah, I
I
won't
was,
agree there though.
hey,
see I you know the one- see I you know I don't nothing like I didn't watch any Naruto, but like I even though if someone were to say to me like and I love Dragon Ball, like I grew up on Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, like I I would still give props to Naruto for being an important thing. Like I don't think you should diminish it in any way cuz like it just wasn't your thing. Cuz I see where it's other people's like fucking jam, and it's the thing they grew up on. And even though I didn't watch it, I, regardless of even if I watched it and I hated it, I would still be like, well, this is your thing. So I do feel, and even if you go, I work with people now who are just like, yeah, like Naruto, like they'll talk about that more than they would, like they'll talk about, water cooler shit where, they're like, oh yeah, Naruto, I'm into that, like, and that's just, so that shows you just how big that show is. So like, I think that would be a disrespect to it to be like, yeah, it's not as important as Dragon Ball Z. No, that it can, multiple things can exist in that same
I wouldn't
space.
say
But
that's.
that's what I'm saying.
No, hold on, hold on. If we're saying,
hold on, but like
hold on, if we're
to the
saying that
same
is
point.
as important. Wait,
Yeah, I'm
hold
Well,
no,
to a
no.
next to it, okay, to the
that
next generation, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like
on.
it's this generation's
Dragon Ball Z.
Dragon
Yeah,
Ball Z.
yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
that's why
okay.
that's the point I was trying to make.
Just like the next
to flip-
generation's gonna be Black Clover, right, guys?
No, My Hero
I
Academia
actually
all the
want.
way.
I actually
Fuck
want
this-
the
fuck this
world to
Black
burn
Clover.
down right now because Black Clover exists. I'm not even gonna. I'm very upset.
I'm really irritated about this Black Clover thing, but I
No,
just
but I
feel
do.
like
I think Hero Academia is probably the next. Yeah, I agree with that.
God, it's so good, so good.
I haven't. You know what? I really haven't watched it ever since we stopped reviewing it on here, and everybody keeps talking about it. And I have this. I have this feeling. I have this cynical AJ feeling that when I watch it, that I'm going to hate it, and that I'm going to shit all over it, and everybody's going to hate me because I'm going to point out all the issues of it. And everybody's going to be like, "Oh, you're just picking on it," and I'm just going to be like, "No, all of you are just fools." And I'm just
That
going to
sounds
look
like a
at you,
Quentin statement there.
and I'm just going to look at all of you like
You're just
how
picking on
Madara
it.
looked at all the goddamn Uchiha, and he's going to come back, and he's going to fucking. Then I'm going to plan an 80-year fucking plan to fucking destroy anime.
Do that all to the tunes of "You Say Run."
Yeah. Speaking
All
of
right,
you
so-
say run, I'm waiting for this episode. Someone's got to put this whole episode 110 to a you say run of Dragon Ball Super.
Yes.
So,
All right,
speaking
let's go
of
ahead
Dragon
and-
Ball Super,
Wait, so okay, what are we doing with? So what's going on with Black
we'll
Clover?
109
watch it.
and
We'll
110.
watch it. We'll
109
watch it.
and
One more. Okay, all right.
Yeah, we'll watch.
Barely.
It. Like, fuck that. Fuck it, son. It was a terrible episode, but you two, just with your soft hearts, want to make sure that it lives. And you know what? I'm tired of fighting. I don't have the energy. Just fuck it.
I would have
Anyway.
felt that way if we would have watched the next one of the beheading saga. I would have been like, oh my god, why?
It's like crazy. Now we got to find 2 more anime to watch. Whatever. So next week, guys, you'll see us with Black Clover episode 2 and 2 more anime. So stay tuned with that. But going on to our next segment, dog. This weekend has been hype-filled mania for me. I don't know about y'all.
Yo, since
Yeah.
I'm not from the church, when you go, can I lead on the episodes 109 and 110?
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
Listen, I'm getting paid already in dividends for my,
Dog.
I've been paid for
I just want to let.
this week I have been paid for my loyalty to TBS. So I'm good. I've been good the whole time.
What's crazy is that this weekend, not only was DBS the fucking hour long fucking main event that they made,
Yeah.
because that was a main event
It
fucking
was a
match.
it was a pay-per-view.
So then we end up getting motherfucking wrestling for those who like wrestling. Dog, some cool shit happened on Hell in a Cell. We got Shane jumping off a Hell in a Cell into a table, people going heel. You got the modern day Maharaja going clean over Shinsuke Nakamura. We end up having the Shield reunion with
Yeah.
Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, and Seth Rollins coming back after 3 years. Like, things get crazy. And you know what? It all started because those bastards, those goddamn bastards at Toei Animation was like, listen, we're taking you back to WrestleMania 2, and we're going to give you the greatest main event bout we have ever seen. We got Jiren the Gray, and we have motherfucking Goku, and they're going to fight. And dog, that shit was mwah! Oh god, that was like, dog. Oh my god, I couldn't sleep. I was so hyped that I couldn't sleep.
I had the same problem too. Like I watched it and I was just like, fuck, this was like, because I was like, fuck, this is cool. And like okay, like
I watched it multiple times.
yeah, like
I
part
did
of
too.
part of the hype for me is it's almost like it's not even like the episode. It's me going and watching like reaction videos. I go to Twitter, I type in Dragon Ball Super. I like to hear their reaction. Like I like to see other people. Part of the hype of it is other people are. I think it's, you know, because I really didn't get in on like the Game of Thrones like hype train. I like this. I can get into like the live, like, you know, like the live, like this is actually happening. We're all geeking out over it. Like, like that's why I was glad I messaged you, because I was like on the thing, and I was because I was trying to find someone else who was like gonna watch it, and there wasn't, like, all my friends were asleep, and I was like, no, this is going on. Like, this is really cool. But yeah.
Yo, so let me tell you. So let me. All right. So before Paulie goes, I just want to break down how the events of how this works. So for those who either are not watching, I don't know where to have. You know what? For good reason, you're probably not watching Dragon Ball Super. But if you are watching it, or if you're not watching it, let me just tell you, this is how it works. So Goku was like, "Yo, let's just see who's the strongest in the universe. Let's just see who's the strongest in the multiverse." And then motherfuckers was like, "I," and then they decided, "All right, well, here's the thing. If your unit, so now we gonna have this battle royale, and we gonna say, if your universe ain't shit, we just gonna, you know, destroy your. We just gonna erase it. You know, whatever. We just gonna erase it, and it don't matter.
Trillions of lives, no big deal.
You know, just, you know, whatever. Doesn't matter. So then Goku's just like, yup, okay, let's fight. I just want to see who's strong, cause you know I'm an idiot. Haha. So now he decides to get all these people. So you got Frieza there. Yeah, Frieza's back from the dead. You thought that he was just gone forever. Nope. He's back.
Nope.
Now we got Vegeta. We also got Gohan. Yup. We thought that he stopped fighting. Nope. He's back. Tien. Haven't seen him in a while. Master Roshi's here. He's an old man. Why is he here? Crazy.
Roshi also on a full renaissance and showing why he is Master Roshi in this series.
That shit is crazy. Now you also have
People crying over Master Roshi. Fuck out of here.
son. His shit was that shit was triumphant, dog. What do you mean? That
Yeah,
shit was
it wasn't tear worthy, dog.
son. That shit was, it wasn't tear worthy, but that shit was kind of like, you know, it hit you in the feels a little bit.
It made me
No
feel
feels. No feels were touched.
That's sad. That's because you feel that death is just has no consequence in motherfucking Dragon Ball, and I understand why. But you know, it's still just damn, dog. That's Master Roshi, you know. And it was like the moment too. It was the moment in itself. This shit was good. Anyway, now you also got Androids 16 and 17. Crazy, you know. Got all these people just coming in, and Piccolo's there because sometimes you just need to have a nice old hug motherfucker in there, making sure shit is straight. Dog, evidently there verses in this fight, or is it
Yeah, there were 6.
the 6 universes that are in this fight? So you got people that are like doing these crazy abilities and all that stuff, and it's even worse is that it's just been this one motherfucker that's been sitting on the sideline this whole time waiting, just waiting for the right time to fight somebody. And his name was Jaren, and it took us 20 episodes until we got to this point. It was like a build to goddamn Starcade 97, dog. This shit was amazing. Paulie, let us know how you felt about this, man.
All right, so this is where I gotta. I'm usually the person who kind of like is the harshest critic for the Dragon Ball verse because I do feel like um, people tend to look at it with their rose-colored nostalgia glasses, goggles. You know what I'm saying? And since Dragon Ball Super has been out, it's gotten a lot of mixture of reviews. Like, first of all, they made a couple horrible decisions. One, rehashing the first two movies, that was definitely not required. Definitely not called for. I think it actually would have been better served had they just rehashed them like within a few episodes and say, all right, this is the events that kind of unfolded, and this is where we're at now. It would have been much better. The pacing would have been much better, but I think they just decided to milk that, and it ended up being worse because the animation and the quality of the stories. Plus, there was no new information given either. So all that was a downgrade from these two, for the most part, spectacular films that we had gotten that made people get excited again about Dragon Ball, and it was really irritating. So like the story doesn't kick in until episode 29 when they decide to have the Universe 6 tournament. And that's kind of like the precursor to what will lead us into the tournament of power later on. Goku does a heel turn. He gets the entire galaxies and universes all against him because he wants to have a tournament of power that actually ends up becoming more like Hunger Games, but Dragon Ball Z style. And he unwittingly puts everybody in immediate peril. But that said, one thing I gotta say. So we immediately learned that from the get go, Jiren is the guy not to be fucked with.
He's the next big thing, if you will.
Right.
hold on. So we got a female Broly here, right? So
That's true.
hold on. So let's think about this. They put her in a pocket dimension. She breaks out that pocket dimension because she decides that she just wants to yell at that, and he just says, "Fuck that." And you know what? Everybody tries to attack this bitch, and you know what happens? Nobody's able to do shit. This nigga Jiren walks up, and he just puts a blast to her goddamn chest and gets her the fuck out of here, dog. That's it.
Well, one blast, dog.
And he did that casually. He didn't even put he didn't run over there. He walked up smooth and like touched her a little bit, and she just left.
Love taps.
Love
taps.
With the Holy Ghost, dog. He hit her with the Holy Ghost.
That shit was crazy.
So, like, the funny thing is, a lot of time, and this is the point where I really need to hone in on and give them credit and give them their just due. A lot of time in anime, a character, either a villain or a new hero or just some character is built up to be, this guy is so powerful, and the battle that you expect to come, and this is I asked Twan about this the other day. I think I asked Twan. I can't remember if I was asking Kira-san or Twan, but like, this reminded me of watching wrestling. And the reason why is because in wrestling now, the fans understand that everybody is in on the fact that it's all scripted, but it's not so much about it being scripted. It's about where the story goes.
Yeah.
And does
it's not even at some points it's not even about the actual fight. It's more so about what's the outcome. Like, where does this what next leaf are we jumping to? You know what I mean? Like, in the story.
And to an extent, this that's what it felt like here with this Dragon Ball Super episode, or the build up to the fight between Goku and Jiren, because um, we already knew that they were going to fight. If you watch the opening credits, it's clear that Jiren is the person that Goku is going to be pitted against. Um, but it's all about setting up that moment, the build up to that moment, and then the execution of that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And these two episodes do it perfectly. And I'm glad they did it over the course of two episodes, because I don't think this would have been, done justice if it was just done in one episode. Um, the other thing is that not so oftentimes in anime these type of buildups happen, but the execution or the payoff is not comparable to the buildup, and that's a hard thing to do, because when you have savvy viewers like us, you have to either do one of two things, and if you're really impressive, I'm sorry, if you're really good, you can do both. So one thing is either you have to impress us, so like we know what's going to happen. So we know Goku and Jiren are going to fight, but the outcome means that you either have to impress us with the outcome. That's one, or two, you have to surprise us. Two is much harder to do than one. You can impress us, and we can say, you know what, good on you guys. You guys got it. You did it, and you did it in nice fashion. We can appreciate that, and that'll be satisfactory. If you do number two, you've done something special. But if you do both, if you are able to both impress us and surprise us, then you've dog, like you've just like you've won the internet for today. And here's the thing: everybody saw images of Goku's new form multiple times. All we've been seeing is this image of Goku's new form. We all knew it was going to happen, so that's why I'm saying it's hard to surprise us. But yet and still, I found myself surprised in this episode. I found myself impressed in this episode, these episodes rather, but more so episode 110 when things actually went down. So
Right.
we knew in episode 109 with the battle of the Spirit Bomb, and also the build up before that, where Goku actually started off in base form, then went Super Saiyan 1, Super Saiyan 2, and then to Super Saiyan Red and Blue. We knew those things were going to kind of happen, but it kind of reminded me again of the Superman versus Goku fight, where Goku was rapidly going through different transformations, getting to the next level, while Superman was still just sitting there unfazed the entire time. And I was just like, God, Lee, Goku was like basically pulling out all the stops and not actually making any progress. And then like he even went Kaioken, and I was just like, damn. Jiren is just like, yeah, nah, no fucks given.
Son,
He hold him. He hold him so bad when he went.
son, this nigga Jiren. I just want to put in perspective, all right? Jiren, when Goku was Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken times 20, this nigga Jiren was ragging him up against Rumble. He was ragging that man.
I did like the part where like when he went God the first time, Jiren was like, okay, I guess I have to block you with a finger. Like,
Son,
Right.
he hit him. Hold up, but it wasn't just I'm gonna block you with a finger. It started leading into I'm gonna block you with a finger multiple times, and I'm not gonna care. It was just like, dog, like how nice is he? The only other person that we saw do this was Whis, and everybody was like, dog, he's stronger than Beerus.
Right. So like, yeah, he was hoeing the fuck out of Goku. But like, so like we get to the point where they have the episode 109 ends with the Spirit Bomb ping pong match that they were having, and in episode 110 we see where like Goku finally loses, and then like Jiren says, yeah, I'm just gonna implode this shit, and Goku falls through the Spirit Bomb, and it looks like he gets evaporated or eviscerated or vaporized or something to that extent, and everybody is counting him out. And so they do this little moment where everybody, even Beerus is like looking sullen and everything.
Yeah.
And I kind of like that build up, even though we knew it was just going to be short lived. It still mattered is what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a nice touch as far as I'm concerned. So then when he actually came through and he's just like,
Yeah, I thought the cool
oh,
thing was, and then
oh,
Beerus was just like, yeah. Before that, he was just like, he's coming,
he's coming.
and it was like, and then just the fucking
No,
epic
Gohan
music.
was like this. But I like how Gohan did it. He was like, did anybody else doubt it? And I was like, yeah, this nigga Gohan knows his Peppin. Yeah.
Yo, but like when Wiz said, Beerus, is there something you want to say? And he was just like, he's coming. Dog. Another thing I expected to have happen was like some shade just get pulled down at that very moment, like. But when I tell you the image that had been floating around on the internet, and that had been using to promote this, did this no justice? I kid you not, it did it no justice.
Yeah.
Like nothing.
Also, and
Like,
this whole
the visual.
yeah,
Was
and
so,
yeah, and 110 I felt was like they must have been like, all right, we're gonna use this whole we're gonna use a whole budget on the animation because it all look like all the scenes with Goku where he was in Ultra Instinct form,
Ultra Instinct.
just looked so cool. Like I was just like, holy shit, like this looks like amazing.
Yes, it looked great. Like the animation, the quality, and this is the one thing where like I feel like the first 28 episodes, and that's why I led with that because I felt like the quality arguments and the complaints from all the fans were worth it. If they were just like, you know what, let's go cheap on the budget until we get to episode 110.
Just save up a
worth
couple
it.
bucks.
It was worth it, dog, because they delivered, and that's all I needed them to do. But then the Ultra Instinct impressed me, like what he was doing. Did you not like Twan? You seen The Last Dragon?
I liked your.
It was like the glow.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Yeah, I
that?
have. Yeah, I have.
Okay, so did you see the moment where he did
Yep.
where Tonto or the other two, the rabbit and
Dispo and Topo. Yeah.
when they came down and tried to attack him, and he did the thing with the head?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dog. I was like, you got the glow. You're feeling so yeah, that was awesome, bro.
Son,
Like
what the crazy
this
part
battle
to me,
this battle delivered. So I gotta just say, like, I know we're not rating this, but I'm just gonna say fucking my Namek. Goddamn.
so the funniest part, the greatest part, was the greatest part of it all, if we want to be honest, is when so there was a couple of parts that was just amazing. One, it just proved to me like, yo, Jiren is not to be fucked with at all, or no capacity is he like he's he to be fucked with. So they literally get to a point where when they're fighting or whatever, and Jiren's like, is this all you can do? He gets to this point, he's just like, is this all you can do? Goku gets on a pillar and he's like, I'll go ahead and do Spirit Bomb. And he's like, I'll wait.
Yeah, I want to
ain't going
see it.
nowhere. I'll wait. And he just like, mind you, Jiren is like totally expressionless. He's just like I'll wait, whatever. Bring your brother. I'll beat his ass too. Like that's how it worked. Like so, Goku getting energy from everybody and shit, and this nigga Vegeta just said, no, I give you no energy.
Frieza gave Goku energy over fucking Vegeta.
And I love the fact that they
He's no is
Frieza. What if Frieza's laughing? He's
No,
like,
he-
oh, this is like how it was in Namek.
I think I saw on Twitter someone said he's like no longer the king of Saiyans, he's the king of petty.
Yo, that is the pettiest thing I've ever seen. But I will say, when Ren Baren was looking to attack Goku, he did go ahead and get her out the way. But it was just funny as hell that he gave him no energy. He was just like, I didn't give you no goddamn energy. Everybody else is like, yeah, take my energy here.
Dog.
Oh my God.
After Goku lost, he was sitting there crippled. Vegeta was like, "Yeah, shut the fuck up about your little hurt."
How did you do that?
He's like, "Get right to the point."
so we get to that. So after one thing that we also have to mention is that Ultra Instinct did not last, because it's something that only gods and angels can do, but even they cannot do it so easily. easily to just be like, 30-minute thing or even seconds or
Well,
whatever,
that's
however
that's not the
long
only reason it didn't last though. It also didn't last because he hadn't attained the actual power. He only got that power through the
the spirit
energy
bomb.
from the spirit bomb.
See, I
Yeah.
kind of I kind of
So it
felt
was
that I felt that the Ultra Instinct was done right. Like it wasn't just this, hey, I just won. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't this.
Yeah.
It
well,
was this
it
thing
didn't feel like
that
an ass pull either.
yeah,
Yeah.
it didn't feel ass pulley because it was just like, hey, you know what? He's on borrowed time. He had this like I kind of almost felt like it was like a moment where he was like Flash touching the Speed Force kind of shit. Where he
Hmm.
was just like, oh, like he attained something. I don't know if he can get back to it, kind of thing. Um, and even when he had this ability, like he still like wasn't fucking up Jiren at all. Like he was just like on his level for a little while, which I thought was
Well,
pretty
well,
cool
Jiren
too.
is basically at base level, and he
Dog,
basically
let's
got Jiren as
Jiren
I
his,
think
has never he
well,
has not
people were
did not
talking about that last punch that he gave him. You saw Jiren's aura, so that last second, I think he kind of pushed Jiren a little bit, but then he ran out, and then it was just like, okay, this is done.
some, but even if we want to think about just in terms of this, right? So Jiren, he's able, he did not move based on he like Goku was punching him as hard as he could. We see shockwaves coming out of Jiren's back, and Jiren's just like, "What the hell are you doing, dog?" Goku goes, Goku jumps all his transformations, throws, he's getting ragdoll. He ends up throwing the fucking spirit bomb. Jiren with no hands is just using his aura and just like I'm holding this here, just using his plain aura just to hold a spirit bomb that can essentially probably the size that he got on fucking Namek. All right, so now we get to the point where Goku comes back. Jiren still is not at full potential. He's still fighting this dude. Mind you, he's keeping up with him too. And I'm not sure if you guys looked at it, but Ultra Instinct, it was like almost instantaneous. Like his speed was
Yeah,
ridiculous.
that first thing where he jump kicked at him, I think even Goku was surprised because it was just like went to white, and then it was like he was there fighting him,
Just
and Jiren
teleported, dog.
Jiren
Yeah,
had
that first one was so cold.
yeah,
Dog.
and Jiren had already dodged it. You know what I mean? Like it was just like
Son.
holy shit.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. Like Jiren is not even at full. He's not. We're not even seeing full. We're not even seeing full power. Even if he turned on his aura, that only gives an inclination that he just was like ready. All he did was catch the punch. He didn't even punch him yet. All he did was catch it. It was like,
Right.
dog, what the
Well, he
fuck
did
is
hit him with a
this?
little beam. Yeah, it was beastly though.
Son, this nigga Jiren
But-
is a problem, son.
I need to say another thing about Ultra Instinct too. The reason also that this wasn't an ass pull, not just because of the spirit bomb thing, but they actually did a good bit of foreshadowing all the way back in the first arc of Battle of the Gods. And the reason I say that is because when Goku attained um, the ability to enter the God level, God key, like he didn't. It was only a temporary thing, and much like this with the Ultra Instinct, he basically broke into a new threshold within himself that was only just like, all right, well, now you've got a taste of it, but now you have to like train and master it, basically. And I think that's what we can expect to see. So I kind of like that they've kind of established things in this way because, again, it doesn't feel like an ass pull. Also, the way that they triggered it and initiated it, it makes sense. And going back to what we were saying about the wrestling comparison, is that it's all about the story and and the outcomes and if it makes sense to everybody who's kind of like observing it. And
Son.
this is one of those times where I just feel like, man, I rag on Dragon Ball Super a lot, and I cannot rag on them for this. I had a lot of issues with the Goku Black Zamasu arc. Like, it's a really bad arc. This has been a good arc for the most part. I can't lie.
I think going back, I think this episode actually does do a little bit more. Kind of helps out. Like one thing that when he did fall into
Super
kind
Saiyan
of the,
Rage.
yeah, I think it kind of maybe like that might be like the spirit bomb energy, the absorbing the spirit bomb. Like Trunks did that too into his sword, and then they beat Zamasu. Like I think that might be like I don't know, like a thing that they're just kind of like tapping into. Like that's just like it kind of makes a little bit more sense logically now. That well, how did he beat this god? Well, Goku absorbed the spirit bomb too, and it turned him into this fucking like I bring up to the Flash thing where it's like they fucking touch the Speed Force. You know what I mean? And maybe there's something special about like other people's energy in the spirit bomb form that does these things, these like incredible feats.
So I want to say that the ending of that episode was so.
Oh yes.
It was like.
Yeah.
It was almost like Shakespeare wrote it, dog. Fucking. We get to the point. All right, so just the sequence. If we just want to think about the sequence, right? So, Jiren catches Goku, punches him away. Goku is incapacitated. Frieza comes over. He's like, I don't give a fuck about what you're talking about right now. Tell me how'd you do that? Because I need to do it too. Because you're way too much stronger.
Me and Vegeta.
Vegeta.
Yeah, like I'm Vegeta, and you're way too much stronger than me, and this is ridiculous. So we see this. So now Vegeta looks away for a moment, for one goddamn moment, and Goku's gone. Frieza has him, and Frieza. And at first, I couldn't tell it was Frieza. How it was, but then. You could see a close-up of his face with the fucking beam of light in Goku's face, and he's like, it's just like how it was on Namek, isn't it? And it just fucking ends.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I thought it ended with did it end there? What happened? What about Hit trying to sneak up on Jiren?
That was right. That was right before that. Like, because as soon as he punched him away, and actually I thought that was funny when Hit said Jiren was like, "What do you want, assassin?" He's like, "I'm working." I thought that was.
I don't even care about Hit.
I thought that was a funny like.
I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I don't care because Hit. What is Hit going to do? What's Hit going to do?
I think.
To be honest with you,
I think Hit's. I think what's gonna.
What's Hit gonna do?
I think Hit's gonna. I think Hit's gonna figure something out.
Dispo. How about this? Dispo was able to hear him vibrate and keep up with the speed, right?
Yeah.
Jiren is out here fighting Ultra Instinct Goku.
Yeah.
He's out here fighting him at full potential. What is Hit going to do?
Here's the thing. I kind of agree with you here, Twan, because before Goku was, before we saw Ultra Instinct, the transformation for Ultra Instinct, I always felt that Hit would provide a better fight than Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken would for Jiren, because I felt like Hit's upper ceiling seemed to be a lot higher than Goku's at that point. Now, after seeing Ultra Instinct, I do feel like, man, like Hit, you're just like a time waster until Goku recuperates and is able to try to tap back into Ultra Instinct again. I really don't see another.
I'm going to be honest. The only way that I can see them win it is that everybody got to jump Jiren. Everybody.
No,
everybody. No, everybody. That means Beerus. That means Whis. That means everybody. Everybody got to jump Jiren. Everybody got to jump Jiren.
Actually,
that's the only way.
There's one.
I've already predicted. I think that Gohan's new mystic level is going to be the key to beating Jiren.
This build, this is like a real talk. This might Toriyama might actually be a genius writer if we want to be.
It depends on where this go. Like now the big question is like where does it? Hold on. Now the big thing is like where does it go from here? Like how does this get resolved
that's the point I have.
Yeah.
So I feel like they've. All right. So if we're being honest, I think that they've backed themselves into a little bit of a corner here. So writing wise, this feels eerily like when Madara was. When they basically
made him God, and then
yes, I feel that they've done the same thing here with Jiren, and I mean I know that reference is lost on you, Kira-san, but people who are listening to the show, Twan knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
like basically you can't create a character and make him so powerful because basically it ends up forcing the writer to have to Deus Ex Machina their way out of the situation. That's why I was so impressed with the Jiren Goku battle, because it was well done and didn't feel like an ass pull, like they had to reach for a Deus Ex Machina. I mean, you could say that the Ultra Instinct is Deus Ex Machina like, but there was so much foreshadowing played into it that it removes that aspect from it. But now the problem is now that Goku's been defeated, and we know that nobody else has any power near the level of Ultra Instinct thus far. The next conclusion is that nobody is going to be strong enough to take on Jiren. So my only hunch is that Gohan's
Khalifa's been watching from the thing, and it's like, oh, I know how to do that now.
right.
I figured it out.
Hey,
How mad would the internet be?
No,
Holy
I
cow!
think they would.
they will be
You know what's
so-
crazy is that one of the things I like about how. So the reason why I say like I like how this whole build has been coming, like, and really, what they did with this art is almost like really, really. Is it Togashi? It's not Togashi, yes, because it's not like I'm taking you on.
that's too much credit.
All right, you know what?
But
it
that's what I'm
might
saying. Like, but like I do.
but it's the
impressive.
build. No,
I
it's
don't-
the
I don't-
build.
Don't
That's
get me
what I'm
wrong.
looking-
It is impressive, but
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
why I say like to me it's where they go from here that really kind of cements whether this is going to be a good arc when it's all said and done. Because
So
like the Black Goku arc started off good, it just ended super.
so think about it like this, right? So in Hunter x Hunter, right? So if you just want to think, if you want to think about the Gone build, right? So how he went from, when it went from I meet Kite, I feel responsible for Kite. I'm too weak to save Kite. Kite has to push me away. Kite dies because of me. I then, his whole thing with Knuckle, just himself. I'm not even mentioning everybody else.
Right.
Him going into Pito, him like his descent almost into I will kill you and this girl right here to oh shit,
Turning
Kite's
into a
actually
thug.
dead. To Kite's actually dead to Bloodlust. To Dark Transformation Bloodlust and then No Nin. Okay, so I'm just talking about just that transition. If we look at how Gohan went, right? Just from the beginning of this arc, he goes from just even if you want to take it back further, he goes from a kid who's unwilling to fight, I am responsible for this, I have all this hidden potential that my father sees, I become an adult, I don't want to really fight anymore, because I don't need to fight anymore, my father's here.
And they've also pushed the I have the most to fight for in multiple of the episodes where they've posted when he saw when he killed the one jobber dude and he was just he saw his family get erased and
he's
when
just like I can't have that
and
happen to my
even
family.
and even in those build up episodes setting up for the tournament, they went into a lot of it was Gohan being I need to fight to protect these things. I think those they've made a point where Goku's I really don't give a shit. I'm here to fight fight.
Even he sees that in Trunks, even with the Zamosa, he even sees that in Trunks. Trunks loses everything. He's I can't lose everything. He even says that he wants to train harder because he sees all these other fighters. He's I want to train. And can you help me train? He ends up coming back into just mystic form that we saw before. He fights the fucking Wolf Brothers. He gets through to this whole transition. He even fights his father and says, I will find a way to get stronger on my own. Mm-hmm. Dog, he's never, and we haven't seen him go fucking Super Saiyan with his fucking mystic form, dog. Just saying, it's some shit that can happen. And the fact that he was able to even keep up with Super Saiyan Blue to a point, Goku had to go KO Ken just to fight, just to finish off Gohan at that time.
Right.
I'm just saying, it's a build there
I
that
think
is really, really good.
Yeah, I think Gohan has a lot of character building, honestly, in Super. I think a lot of work has been done to make Frieza one of the most interesting characters because now
agree.
he's coming back this. Even
He's
at the end,
ultimate wild card.
yeah. But even at the end of the episode, it was him threatening Goku. You're just man, he could pull the trigger on this. He is, and even when they were
I've heard a theory about that, by the way.
and
What's the theory?
Well, so when Frieza says this reminds me of Namek, it can mean two things. Mm-hmm. One, it can mean when Goku defeated him on Namek, or two, it can mean when Goku gave him energy to
Yeah,
kind of to
I've
heal
seen
him a
it.
little
That
bit.
that's
So
what that's what most people think are going to happen is that he's going to
Yeah,
give him some energy, which again will be interesting because now it's like the biggest evilest baddie now has a one up on the hero, like he owes him now. You know what I mean?
but I
Like
think that is, but I also think that is, but it's also because Goku said his wish is going to be, I'm going to revive Frieza. If we
right,
win, I will revive Frieza.
right,
So, so Frieza does have something to gain from this. The
and
same reason
also
why he didn't
I
turn on
also think
Gohan.
Frieza has something. I also think there's another thing Frieza probably has up his sleeve because like when they were fighting with Jiren and stuff, he wasn't sweating anything. He was just like, interesting. And then like when they said Ultra Instinct, he was just like, I see. Like just taking it all in, like, okay. And I still think that there's something that we haven't figured out about the Golden Frieza because again, they did throw this, Hakai energy at him and he was like, "Oh, I can control this bullshit." Like this god death energy
yeah,
that
What he
that
said,
killed.
what he said was his inner that he was able to learn how to concentrate his energy so it wouldn't like reduce his stamina. That's what he learned, and it was like he was able to like maintain it, almost like akin to when Goku was able to stay in Super Saiyan
See, but I thought there was some,
before Cell.
yeah, but I think there's more to it too because again, that energy, that Hakai thing, Zamasu was just blasted into, just like that's supposed to be like this life or death, creation death
True.
energy, and he just took it and was like forced it into a ball. So I think there's like there's some weird like not necessarily the instinct ultra instinct thing, but I think Frieza's figured something out about the gods, and
yeah.
even when they and
Well,
whenever
he
they
does have more
talk, he
knowledge
looks
about
at
them too.
and whenever he looks at him, he's like you're not gonna be fucking looking over me this whole time, like I'll I'll have one up on you. So like I mean I think he's still scheming this whole time, but I think he knows something, and also I think there is that's and when you were talking about like doing the debate against Jiren versus Superman, like I think that's fun. How's that work? I saw that and I was like, that's funny. But like I I honestly think I think you're warranted at this moment, but I think there is going to be some weird hook with Jiren. Like there's got to be something that's like not
So,
right. There's
Well,
something not
there
right
is
here.
something.
No,
There's
no,
something
I'm
I've already noted about Jiren is
all
that.
right. So what did you note about Jiren?
So, two things. Well, one. Well, back when, back before the tournament began, they showed Jiren. He was like kind of isolated somewhere, which could have been like a version of a hyperbolic time chamber, where he was storing energy. The second thing is, his god, the god of his universe, told him, "All right, it's okay. You can stop conserving your energy now."
Yeah.
So, I think that there's a limitation to how long Jiren can keep up this godly like strength that he has,
Okay.
which is why he's probably been not fighting the entire time because, much like with Goku, where there was a time limit to how long he could stay in his Ultra Instinct mode, I think that the same applies to Jiren, but for a longer duration of time.
Or maybe that Jiren is so strong that it like basically it's only but it's the energy that he uses. Like basically, if he has 100, each punch he throws is damn near 10, and not just like 0.1.
There was also a theory on the internet I read that was kind of interesting that that Jiren's kind of like a puppet for the god of destruction there, like he either made him or is like funneling like his power through him.
Oh my god, if that was the case, then I'll be like, that is so fucking good.
Like
That's
something
great.
like someone was thinking something like that.
That would be dope.
That would be dope, right?
Because if you watch the episode again, one, he had the psychic connection with Jiren. Two, he was like, how is he beating this, like as if because they didn't really actually say that he was the mortal who was as strong.
They said that he was the mortal.
They said that. Well, they were like it must. They assumed it must be
Yes.
him. They assumed it must be him because he's this strong. Like I don't think they actually said it. That's why I was like, you know what I mean?
He was shaking the void. He was shaking a.
Yeah.
I want y'all to realize. Do y'all comprehend what a void is? A void is literally a place where there is no space and time.
Yeah. And then what was the other shit? What was the other thing I was gonna say? Fuck, I can't remember.
Son,
Anyways, there was
Jer-
another Jiren thing, and I can't remember what it was now.
son, they gotta jump Jaren, dog. They got to.
Every-
like, I don't like until like I'm gonna be honest. If unless Gohan shows us that he has like this ridiculous power, unless there's a combined effort between Ultra Instinct Goku, Gold Concentrated Gold Frieza, and Vegeta, who also, if Vegeta doesn't get Ultra Instinct, we got to riot.
well,
Alright,
see,
so
as
at this
the
point,
head,
I don't think that there's no. I don't
as
think that there. So my thing is with Vegeta, like he's clearly way. He's like now he was already behind Goku when Goku went Super Saiyan Blue with Kaioken. This just like puts him 2 steps behind Goku now.
yeah, you know
So
what? I don't even know what the point of like people on like forums are like, dude, just wait till Goku and Vegeta fuse again. It's like, why the fuck would Goku
Why?
ever? Why would Goku even fucking?
Yeah.
At this point, if you were to fuse with someone, I'd pick like fucking Frieza at this point. Like,
or hit.
yeah, or Hit or anybody but like Vegeta, because he's just not. He's like this far behind now. You know,
It's
and
not even that he's this far. Like, I think people like we also got to really recognize what far behind. Like,
Oh,
it maybe
sure.
yeah, because like Vegeta's still formidable in comparison. The problem is that they literally made Goku this fucking I can control key on a godlike level. Like, just this mastery is ridiculous. And
Yeah.
Here's
It's
another.
almost-
Here's oh yeah, that was what I was looking for. Here's another interesting question that was posed that I was reading on Twitter. Could Goku beat Champa?
I think Goku could beat Champa.
Because even with all the
No.
shit that's going on, Champa is still a god of destruction.
Yeah, I'm gonna say no.
And that's one thing that people were kind, and then like that kind of puts a little bit in perspective, I think, where it's like, where are are the gods afraid of Jiren? You know what I mean? Like that's kind of where
Champa's just a fat sack of shit. I think that's where I'm looking at
Yeah,
it.
but just because he's fluffy, don't get it twisted.
Nah, son,
dog.
'cause,
These
nah,
niggas
this
out here
motherfucker.
saying these
Son,
niggas
his
out here
universe almost
uttering
got
death
destroyed.
and destroyed
His
the
universe
monster.
almost got destroyed because all he did was just eat, dog. They ain't do shit for him.
yeah, but
They
he
ain't
also
wanna do
played,
shit.
but
They
he
wanna do his
also
work.
he also played a game of baseball, so it's fine.
But all right, so this is the ace up the sleeve I think Vegeta has. I think he's attained perfect blue, which Goku hasn't done yet. So, I think Vegeta has attained perfect
User
blue.
disconnected from your channel.
One thing that we've noticed with Vegeta and Goku over their time is that Vegeta does a lot better job. Like Goku gets a form, and then once he learns that form, with the exception of Super Saiyan 1 he doesn't really
Master.
focus on
He doesn't
trying
master.
to master them.
Yeah.
He just like, all right, what's the next level I can go to, and he's all like about skipping levels. Whereas Vegeta, he focuses more on mastering and that power once
Right.
he attains it.
Right.
So I think that Vegeta's ace up the sleeve, and the thing that's going to keep him on
User
par
entered
with
your channel.
the thing that's going to keep him on par with Frieza is that because remember the last time Vegeta and Frieza saw each other, Vegeta was getting ready to kill Frieza,
Right.
and so at that point Vegeta was stronger than Frieza, but the developments that have occurred in the story thus far would make it appear that Frieza is
User in
now
your channel timed out.
greater than Vegeta, but I don't think so.
Right.
I think that Perfect Blue is what he has up his sleeve. Although I hope
User entered
that
your channel.
All right.
What?
Sorry.
Alright.
Not time.
yeah. So I hope Perfect. But I hope like Perfect Blue is worth it. Ultimately, I don't think it's going to be. I think that Vegeta's going to be sort of finalized as far as this tournament goes.
I would
a bit-
also be fine with like somebody somehow cheesing out like Goku and Jiren like cheesing each other out of this. You know what I mean? Like somehow knocking themselves off or sacrificing themselves to get
I think
up.
that would be.
I
I
think-
think that would be a great.
And I think that would
be.
be cool because then it would leave whoever's left to win this tournament, and then I think that would be a really cool like a really cool end to this whole thing. And plus, again, we gloss over it now because all this shit's going on. I mean, the angels there's still the question, like, what are these fucking angels doing? Why did that angel smirk when his universe got erased? Like, I think there's a whole other thing at the end of the end of the line here still to actually go over. So this was just like a
See,
giant.
that's what I think.
This was
That's
just
why
a
I think this
giant
is headed.
blip.
I really feel like the tournament won't end in earnest. I feel like the tournament is going to be um, prematurely canceled because the Angels are going to enact their plan, whatever it is.
Their
And
coup.
their coup. That's what I think it is. I mean, I basically went on a whole little spiel in our message string where I said that basically I think the Angels are preparing to do a coup and try to dethrone Zeno or Xenos, as it were, because like basically we know that the Angels are stronger than their respective gods. At least the majority of them are, and we know that they are more intelligent than their respective gods, but yet somehow they're in a subordinate status to the gods, which is kind of odd. And some of them have demonstrated to have very arrogant attitudes too. So, especially the father of Wiz and is it Vado or I can't remember her name, but his sister. But like he definitely demonstrated like he I feel like he has contempt for Zeno too, a lot more so because like he's basically like a glorified babysitter for this childlike deity, and I think that they want to overthrow them. Also, there's also the matter of the weird caveat that when the universes get destroyed, everybody gets destroyed except for the angels of those respective universes. So that's a very peculiar caveat to enclose. And we know that Zeno didn't come up with the rules, so that leaves us to note that who else would have come up with these rules
Right.
if not the angel. So I feel like there's too many things, and like Kursan mentioned already, the fact that the one angel smirked when his universe was destroyed.
Yeah.
Um,
And the other non weird reason it could be is they were talking about what a fucking dump heap his universe is, and it's all a bunch of shitheads, like with the wolves and all that other stuff, and even the wolves mentioned that this universe is garbage. So maybe he was glad to be free of it, but at the same time, it's like, I don't know if that was necessarily the smirk.
right, but I just feel like it's all too coincidental for these little things to be aligning up and not have a bigger meaning. Again, it, I don't feel like Dragon Ball Super has strayed too far away from Dragon Ball Z in the sense that it's not super complex. We do have a lot more Easter eggs to kind of like try to unhatch with Super than we ever did with Z, because I never put this much thought into Z. With
Right.
Super, I will say, but again, so like people are crediting Toriyama, but Toriyama is not really the one.
He's not the
behind-
lead writer.
Yeah, he's not the lead writer for this. I can't remember the other guy's name, but he's the lead writer for
Not
this.
Toriyama.
Yeah, not Toriyama. Yeah.
I will say the one thing that as much hype as I had for the fight, so my biggest takeaway though is it is what I've really been my issues been with this fucking arc. Even though I like the direction of how things are going, I do have the problem of like the fucking fights just aren't like the fights themselves, like just aesthetically watching the fight, they're just not worth it.
They're boring.
Yeah, like
But
because
I felt that way for the most part. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I think that's my biggest issue because like in Z and Dragon, like it's like in Z and Dragon Ball, even you have the choreography, even if people want to move at lightning fast speeds or whatever, it wasn't just this constant loop of
Yeah.
actions.
Yeah.
It wasn't just that, and that's where it kind of bugs me. And
I think that's why this fight actually stood out a lot is because there was like, you know,
But
specific
even this
move.
fight,
I mean, yeah, even it did break it down into that at some points, but there were moments where it was just like, he did the
Well,
fucking
like
Leroy, the glow like double grab and the
Bruce
the
Leroy,
jump,
yeah.
yeah, blue Leroy, and the the
I don't know. Yeah, there's a bunch of moments like that in this particular fight. But like
yeah, but
again,
still,
I, to your complaint though, I kind of refer back to my comment about this being like wrestling. So like this whole arc for me, those moments in wrestling where the two seasoned wrestlers they try to do the test of power in the middle of the ring.
hmm
right.
Um, like when I watched the Master Roshi and Tien battles, I kind of got that feel because like I know what's gonna happen and I see it happening, and it's not really um, like about choreography. It's more about like we're gonna try to do this thing, and it's gonna be more or less like a little tug of war. Uh, Only to like end in a way that we can kind of predict and see coming.
yeah,
For me, with the exception of things like when Kale was going batshit crazy as Broly, and some of the moments with Hit and Dispo and this battle here, like I felt like everything else has been pretty much like just a test of power in the middle of the ring,
Hmm.
and yeah, it's kind of cool to see every now and then, but just fucking wrestle, dog. Like 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 that's what I'm saying. Like ultimately, I think that's what you're getting at. Is just like the battles have been basically these little weird things that are going on in the middle of the ring, and really all I want to see them do is just do some great in ring action,
Hmm.
uh, and shit like that. So yeah, for me, um, like I say that this arc has been good because for the most part, it's not done anything where I've been like, yeah, I just want to throw my middle finger up at the fucking screen. So
I think it just might be Dragon Ball in general where they're just like they've got this
yeah.
tournament
But
shit like down.
you know what?
Like it's like they're meeting. It's like it's meat and potatoes is the tournament shit.
yeah,
But you know what? The only thing I can say is that I'm interested to see what this the fuck is gonna happen next week. Yo, that's all they wanted to do was make sure that I can see what's
Yeah.
gonna happen next week. They did their goddamn job this time.
Yeah,
yeah, that's true.
the end of this episode was definitely a next time on Dragon Ball Z. Like,
And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm
completely
definitely
okay.
okay.
Um,
But like I said again, I really kind of give them their credit. Like kudos. I've said a lot of negative shit about Dragon Ball Super, but if it was all. I feel like it was all worth it. Like I was so glad that I didn't stop watching it the many times that I felt like I wanted to stop watching it, and I got to this point because when I watched that shit, I just felt like I was rewarded.
yeah, and you know what's funny is I've had a lot of people message me. They're like, "Hey, I heard something big's going on in Dragon Ball Super. Should I be watching it now?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you should have been watching from the beginning. I've kept the faith the entire time."
Was it TJ? He was like, "Oh," he was like, "Everybody would have talked shit about, it, but now everybody would have come back." And I'm just like, I've been watching it this entire time. That doesn't mean that like it's like I could say in full honesty that Super has probably had 10 good episodes out of the 110 that have been released.
I'm not saying it's not like okay, when I say like I like it, like I'm not saying like I'm not gonna defend it to like I'm not gonna die on the hill and be like, dude, this is high art, you fools. Like I know what it is, but I still like it and it still entertains me every week. Like it's something that I want to watch every week. And plus, honestly, like I literally think it's like they must have like crept into my dreams when I was like writing a Frieza fan fiction and we're like, hey, like, and that's the other thing for me is like I'm getting like this is like a giant Frieza fan fiction. Like, what if we brought Frieza back? Oh, that sounds good. Oh, and then we'll have him like get this new form. I like that too. Hey, let's have like Boo get kicked out and we'll bring Frieza on and like he'll try to like plot and scheme. Like, man, this is great. Like, did they read my live journal? So like that's one reason why I'm still fucking in it. Like I'm just like, oh sweet, like here's free. Like I don't know.
Hold on about Frieza though. I do need to say something because I don't know if it was Twan I had an argument with back in Scam before we moved over to Prep, or who it was with. But I got into a huge argument with a bunch of people about Frieza's new transformation being greater than Goku's, or being on par with Goku's, and that not making sense to them.
I don't think that was me.
So
That wasn't me.
one thing, it probably wasn't then. So then, one thing that I don't understand and why I can't comprehend where they're coming from is, I know to an extent I guess I can comprehend it because people don't like to feel like they're seeing an ass pull happen. So I understand that. But what I don't understand is people don't understand exponential growth. And it just tells me that people are bad at math then. But basically, Goku, so Frieza was born at the power level of, let's just say 1,000,000. Because I think that's what Super Saiyan level 1 is like
Yeah,
a million.
and I think there was a part in Z, and it was like one of the random Namek episodes where they were like, they talked about Frieza just being this like insane prodigy from like the second it was like he was born, you know.
Right. And so like to that end, Goku, everything that he's done throughout Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, before he got up to the point where he became Super Saiyan level 1, just put him on par or a little bit above Frieza's starting point. And what, like, from that point on, you know, and Goku
the whole arc of the Golden Frieza was he was like, maybe I should just try.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. Like basically, it's not like so. And that's another reason why I didn't understand the whole argument
Didn't
for
he only
Astral.
train for like 14 days?
It was. I thought he said a few months or whatever.
Either
Yeah,
way.
and he was just like,
But
yeah,
still.
Wait, but it's still funny if you think about it. Goku has been training his whole life, and Frieza was like, "Well, I'll try this out for about."
But
that's the point. Yeah,
He's a
that's
3-month internship.
Yeah.
but that's why I'm saying, like, when you're a natural born prodigy, already at this high level, your upper ceiling is that much higher than people like Goku who started at power level 1. You know what I'm saying? Frieza started at power level 1,000,000, dog. Like, this is not a fair comparison. So, like, it also lends credit to what Kira-san said about Frieza has something kind of hidden going on, where, like, the fact that he was able to just meditate while he was in hell and still kind of keep up with Goku's developments that are happening in real time, just goes to show that Frieza is a prodigy, and he doesn't really require the same amount of time in order to grasp something or even further himself in certain regards. So I do think that there is some credence to that. That, you know, maybe Ultra Instinct is not out of the question for a person like Frieza. So yeah.
Well, all right. Well, I'm gonna be honest. If next week they give us a great episode like this, which I highly doubt.
Yeah, I don't.
But if they do, just know next week, guys, we will be talking about that shit because this shit got us hyped and we were happy about it. And you know what? Let us know how did you feel about Dragon Ball Super episode 109 and 1010. Well, why did I say 1010? What the hell's wrong with me? And 110. Hit us up at mynemicspodcast at gmail.com. That is mynemicspodcast at gmail.com. Next week we will be covering episode 2, to my dismay, of Black Clover. Yeah, Paulie, take
Believe
us away,
it. That's my magic
God
way.
damn, I hate you.
Maybe Jiren will show up in the Black Clover universe and just kill everyone.
Dog. Asta's gonna be
Yo, real talk, if that
magic
was to happen,
Hokage.
I would be like, Black Clover is the greatest anime of
Black
all time.
Clover. Who's this alien guy?
Dog.
Who's the Magic King? Oh, it's Jiren.
I need Jiren to show up and just mollywop everybody I don't like in every anime verse.
Also, I hope someone does pull your punk card on Jiren versus Superman, so you can. I was like, what'd you say? Give him that smoke.
I'll just be like, yo, I'll give that. Be like, there was so somebody. So for those who don't know, somebody made a post say, "Can we not?" So I'm waiting for somebody to say Jiren could beat Goku. Everybody was like, "Yeah, this." I mean, Jiren could beat Superman, and everyone was like, "Yeah, there's no way that Jiren could beat Superman." I was like, "Nah, Jiren can definitely beat Superman." And go out your ass, and I was like, "Nah, he can." Like I have the feats to prove it, and somebody was like, "That's because he has that jutsu, huh?" And I'm like, "I always got that jutsu in the tuck right now. I always have it."
Well, guys, thank you for stopping by. Um, we hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you'd like to continue to nag us or bug us on the internet, please follow us at My Namek Podcast on Twitter or at My Namek Podcast at Anime Amino. If you'd like the show to show some support monetarily, it would be very appreciated if you stop by tpublic.com/user prep time shop, and shop is spelled with a zero, to pick up a My Namek t-shirt, hoodie, or other paraphernalia. We greatly appreciate that. So thanks again. See you guys next time.
Later.
Later, guys. Bye.